Got you.
Did I witness? When I walked in, all I saw was in the air.
You walked in and saw what?
Booty in the air.
Your Honor, he is a snake. He's doing the same thing to me
right,
with my daughter.
All right.
You know, don't even go there.
It's your kid.
Miss Brown walked into that courtroom carrying the weight of a betrayal most people couldn't imagine surviving. She had trusted a man completely, only to discover he had been married to someone else the entire time. Now that same man was standing just feet away from her, denying not only their child but any memory of their relationship at all.
We were married. He lies, and he will lie and say that we wasn't, but we were. He lies about everything, Your Honor.
Her daughter Blessing deserved a father, and Miss Brown was not leaving without a fight. The audacity of his denial made the room tense before the first question was even asked.
Who married us?
Can I talk?
Can I see the paperwork?
Can I talk? What paperwork? I looked it up.
The judge wasted no time zeroing in on one of the most jaw-dropping details in this entire case. Mr. Shinister had somehow managed to marry another woman while he was still legally married to the woman standing right beside him in that courtroom. That fact alone stopped the proceedings and demanded an explanation that nobody in that room was fully prepared to hear.
Take me to the beginning of your relationship with Mr. Shinoster. I want to understand this.
We met through a mutual friend, which we basically had a long-distance type of relationship.
How does a person end up with two marriages running simultaneously and still walk in acting like the wronged party? The judge's expression said everything the courtroom was thinking.
We talked on the phone, we Facebooked, all of that. So we don't court. We meet, we get married. That's how it goes.
The origin of this relationship made the situation even harder to defend. The two had connected on Facebook, exchanged messages back and forth, and rushed into a marriage that was conducted entirely over the phone. Mr. Shinister's defense was that Miss Brown had moved too quickly for his comfort.
Where were you?
We had inbox. We inboxed back and forth. So I called her because I was confused, like, where am I coming to? She said, here's your Abu. Abu is father.
As if speed was the real problem and not the web of deception surrounding the entire situation. He stood there with a smirk that told on him more than his words ever could. The courtroom saw right through it, and so did the judge.
Talking to her 3 kids. I've never met her a day in my life. When I walked in, she said, here's your Abu.
Miss Brown had gone all in on this man. Her children were calling him their father, and she had built her world around the belief that he was trustworthy. When she shared that detail, the room shifted because the scale of what he had done became impossible to minimize.
Your Honor, I did consider marriage.
My friends told me.
The only thing I could think about doing was going to get a bottle of Henny because it was on and popping now.
You go from meeting the Muslim woman of your dreams.
Mr. Shinoster responded with remarks about her that were so dismissive and disrespectful that they drew visible reactions from everyone listening. He seemed unbothered by the damage his words were causing, which only made things worse. The more he talked, the deeper the hole he was digging for himself.
To a bottle of Henny, and it's on and popping?
She was trying to get popped off, that's it.
Something about Mr. Shinoster's loud and aggressive denials felt like a performance designed to drown out the truth rather than reveal it. Judges have seen every deflection tactic in the book, and this one was no exception. The more noise he made, the more obvious it became that he was trying to steer attention away from something specific.
What I'm trying to understand is marriage or no marriage, you still say you had sex with her.
Yes.
And it was unprotected.
Yes, unprotected.
Miss Brown wasn't backing down, and her frustration had reached its absolute limit. She told the court plainly and loudly that this man had slept with her and walked away without a second thought.
Mr. Shinoster, how long did this relationship last with Miss Brown?
48 hours, Donna.
He lies about every single
I got there on a Friday, I left
step.
Sunday.
After Miss Brown's account of how she was treated, the judge turned the conversation toward the pregnancy itself. How it happened, when it happened, and who was present in her life during that time all became critical pieces of the puzzle.
Soon after you ended the relationship with Mr. Shinoster, were you intimate with somebody else?
6 weeks after.
And how soon after that did you find out you were pregnant?
When I found out I was pregnant, I was 6 weeks and 3 days.
Shinister, predictably, had an answer ready that placed the responsibility on someone else entirely. He pointed to another man who had appeared in Miss Brown's profile picture and declared that this stranger was the real father of baby Blessing. The courtroom absorbed that claim with the skepticism it deserved.
I had sex with another man 3 days before I found out I was pregnant.
And so when you found that out, did you immediately call Mr. Shinoster?
Yes.
And what did you say to him?
I said I'm pregnant.
Mr. Shenister's wife had been present through parts of this chaos, and at a certain point she made the decision to remove herself from the situation entirely. Nobody in that room blamed her for walking away from a mess she hadn't created. The focus then returned to the other man.
I would rather him be her father than you. You have yet to see my child.
Ms. Douglas.
She's 6 months.
Douglas.
Miss Brown had mentioned her boyfriend, who had reportedly stepped into a father role precisely because Blessing's biological father refused to acknowledge her. That detail painted a painful picture of a child caught between a man who denied her and a man who chose her. The injustice of it settled over the room like a heavy cloud.
Ms. Douglas, I know this is difficult for you. If you need to leave the courtroom, you may be excused.
Mr. Shenister's strategy in court became increasingly transparent as the hearing continued. He was going in circle, offering conflicting statements and hoping the confusion would work in his favor. Judge Lake had seen this approach before and was not the least bit fooled by it.
So, Ms. Brown, what you're saying is because Mr. Shenoster failed to step up, this other man...
Defendant's behavior escalated to the point where Jerome had to physically step in and bring the situation back under control. A courtroom is not a place where theatrics protect you from the truth, and that lesson was about to be learned the hard way.
Did. That's why maybe people mistake him for being Blessing's biological.
He's the
but he
only
is not.
one. Everybody knows.
When the dust from all the shouting and deflecting finally settled, something important became clear. Underneath all of Mr. Shenoster's bluster, there was enough genuine uncertainty surrounding the paternity question that the judge recognized it deserved a proper answer.
Shenoster says good-looking husband, beautiful wife equals good-looking babies. I'm just saying I love you and thanks you. Ms. Brown, you respond, I love you too. Why are you thanking me?
Denying someone with so much noise and so little evidence is not the same as being innocent. The only way to cut through every claim and counterclaim in this room was with science. Like and subscribe, because what comes next is not what anyone in that courtroom was expecting.
Laugh out loud. You never married her.
I never married her.
So why you say good-looking husband?
I chose wrong. I chose my words unwisely.
We know you lied.
The DNA results were the only thing left that could silence every argument still echoing in that room. Mr. Shenister had performed, deflected, and pointed fingers at every opportunity, but none of that mattered anymore.
Why then do you say good-looking husband and beautiful wife
That's how I
equals
talk.
good-looking babies?
That's how I talk.
Miss Brown had stood her ground through insults, denials, and a husband who appeared from nowhere to complicate everything. Baby Blessing had been at the center of this storm without a single say in any of it. The envelope was opened, the judge prepared to speak, and the truth that everyone had been fighting over was finally about to be revealed.
You could still potentially be Blessing's biological father because you admit you had unprotected sex
The
with her.
dates ain't add up.
The moment the results were read aloud, the entire dynamic in that courtroom shifted in an instant. Everything that had been argued, denied, and deflected came down to a single sentence from the judge.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Shenoster, you are the father.
No amount of loud talking or finger pointing could change what the science said. Miss Brown had carried this battle for her daughter with dignity and determination, and now she had her answer. Whatever came next, Blessing's story was never going to be the same after that day in court.
I always give the same opportunity, and I hope people take advantage of it. And if you are okay, I would like to give Mr. Shenoster an opportunity to meet Blessing.
Most grandmothers light up the moment they hear the word grandchild. Miss Jackson was not that grandmother. She walked into that courtroom with her arms crossed and her mind already made up, refusing to accept the baby girl being presented to her family. Her resistance wasn't quiet or polite, it was loud, firm, and absolute.
I never accepted the baby. That's a lie.
Tell me what happened.
Okay, she came to my home with her mother and another family member.
Child's future was hanging in the balance, and the woman who should have been welcoming her was doing everything in her power to push her away. Whatever was driving that level of rejection, this courtroom was about to find out.
Remind you, this child was already 4 months old. I never even heard of this young lady.
That's because you don't have a relationship with your son.
Yes, I do. I have a relationship. He lives in my household.
Miss Jackson took the stand and made her position crystal clear from the very first word. She told the court that her son had never once mentioned Miss Pickens to her no relationship, no connection, no baby. As far as she was concerned, her son had nothing to do with this child.
How many
guys were you sleeping with?
2.
She don't know.
2.
She don't know.
When you met her son,
Yes.
you had a boyfriend.
Yes.
But Miss Pickens was equally firm in the opposite direction, insisting that Miss Jackson's son was the father of her baby girl, regardless of what the family chose to believe. 2 women, 2 completely opposing stories, and 1 little girl caught right in the middle.
So somehow you get
Yes.
into a relationship with Miss Jackson's son.
Yes.
Okay.
Me and her son was messing around every
you had
day.
unprotect-
Every day.
Listen.
Unprotected sex every day.
The story got considerably more complicated when it came out that Miss Pickens had been involved with more than 1 man around the time the baby was conceived. After her relationship with the alleged father ended, she had become involved with another man, someone she described as her original choice. That detail gave Miss Jackson side ammunition, and
At the time your child was conceived, having sex with any other man,
Yes,
Miss
well,
Jackson's son, and
they used it immediately. The question of which man was actually responsible for this pregnancy became the central battleground of the entire hearing, and the answer was far from obvious.
The boy who I was going with after him.
after him.
Yes.
And you thought he was the father
Yes.
at first.
Yes.
A significant twist emerged when it became clear that the alleged father himself had reportedly been telling people he was the baby's father. That raised an obvious question. If he was so certain he wasn't involved, why was he claiming paternity in private conversation? Miss Pickens pointed to this as proof that she wasn't making anything up. The judge pressed both sides to account for this contradiction, and the answers that came back only deepened the confusion. Nothing about this case was adding up the way either side wanted it to.
You think they look alike?
Yes, they do.
Your
They
Honor.
look just alike. That's his
My son
twin.
look like Sonia.
And no, he
Yes,
don't.
come
He
on. My
don't
son looks more like her than he does
She
me.
said her son look like me.
No.
Yes.
Miss Jackson refused to budge even when presented with information that challenged her position. She looked at the baby and saw her daughter's features, not her son, and she was not shy about saying so in open court. Miss Pickens pushed back, noting that the child had been accepted by others connected to Miss Jackson's son, a fact that seemed to contradict the family's unified front of denial. The judge asked Miss Jackson directly about this, and what followed was a response that pushed the tension in that room to a new level entirely. The civility that had been holding things together started to crack.
Relationship with this child. We
Hey,
got
give
text
her a lie
messages
to text.
that will even sit up
Lying,
here and say, I've never
lying,
established a
lying.
relationship.
I'm
That
just
child been to
saying,
my house
if
3
I-
times.
if I
If that's
need
the
a lie
case,
to
Your Honor,
Listen, we can either get this resolved or y'all can
can.
go on back home and act a
can.
fool in the street, because you're not
can.
going to act it up in here.
Things got heated enough that Jerome was called to position himself between the two sides to keep the peace. The judge made it clear that performing for the courtroom was not going to help anyone find the truth. What also became clear was that Miss Jackson had made no genuine effort to connect with the child at any point, no visits, no acknowledgement.
You're saying you didn't establish a relationship because you never truly believed this was your son's child, but the child has been to your house on several occasions.
Nothing. For a baby who deserved warmth and family, that absence was painful to hear described out loud. But Miss Jackson wasn't done making accusation, and the next one was truly something else.
occasions.
So you do acknowledge that your son felt like,
Yes, I will say that.
if your son says, Mama, I'm going to pick up my little girl.
She claimed that Miss Pickens had gone as far as faking an entire pregnancy just to trap her son into a relationship. It was a stunning accusation that landed hard in the middle of an already volatile hearing. Miss Pickens fired back with an equally surprising counter, pointing out that she had actually been pregnant with twins.
I have my doubt. She have lied about faking a pregnancy, stated she was pregnant with twins when she found out Aaliyah was pregnant.
Suggesting the fake pregnancy claim was rooted in jealousy over a real situation. Courtroom barely had time to process one bombshell before the next one arrived. The judge's expression made it clear that patience in this room was running thin.
And come to find out that's a lie because her mother told me it was a lie.
You're saying she lied about a second pregnancy?
Yes, when she found out Aaliyah was pregnant. She is very jealous of Aaliyah.
At a certain point, even the most charitable interpretation of the testimony started to feel strained. The stories being told were contradicting each other in ways that couldn't all be true at the same time. The judge recognized that the truth wasn't going to emerge from this back and forth alone.
I was kind of her. Yes, I did lie. And the only reason how you know I lied because I told your son.
Right.
Why did you lie?
That's when Miss Pickens' own mother was called forward to offer her account of events. What she said next surprised everyone, including the people who thought they already knew the full story.
Yes, I did lie because I was kind of hurt. I was hurt because at the time.
So you did it to get back at him?
Yes.
But you now have to understand why your
Yes.
credibility is about shot.
Ms. Pickens' mother told the court that she had personally confronted her daughter about the paternity question she wanted to be absolutely certain her daughter wasn't pointing the finger at the wrong man. Ms. Pickens had looked her mother in the eye and confirmed that the other man in the picture was not the father, and that was why they were all standing in that courtroom.
She looked just like hair, eyes. She does looks like this little boy done lived with me for about a month.
But when you knew your daughter had slept with another man around the time of conception,
Her mother believed her, stood by her, and was willing to say so publicly under the scrutiny of the judge. That testimony added a layer of credibility that the defense hadn't been able to shake. The walls were beginning to close in on the denial.
did you say to yourself, well, are we certain that is Miss Jackson's son? Or did you just go on the look factor?
No.
Judge took a moment to redirect the entire room back to what actually mattered in this case. All the arguing, all the accusations, and all the family politics meant nothing compared to the well-being of a child who had no say in any of this.
Somebody else. Didn't happen, so Kevin came around, and that's when I started seeing her features. You know what I'm saying?
Like and subscribe because the DNA results are coming and they are going to hit differently than anyone expects. In a rare moment of humanity, Miss Jackson told the court that if the DNA confirmed paternity, she would step up and take care of the child. That single statement changed the temperature of the room completely.
Okay, she do. She got
So
nappy
you
hair
went
like
off
him.
of the fact that you felt like they resemble. Okay.
Right.
Thank you so much. You may be seated.
Everything had led to this: the denials, the accusations, the fake pregnancy claims, the jealousy theories, and the mother who vouched for her daughter's honesty. Science was now the only voice left that carried any real authority in that room. The judge prepared to deliver the results that would either validate Miss Pickens' fight or rewrite the entire story. A little girl named in this case had been waiting her whole short life for someone to claim her without condition. The envelope opened, the judge spoke, and the courtroom finally went silent.
Ms. Jackson, you are not her grandmother.
Got you.
Mr. Buchanan had already been burned twice before 2 ex-girlfriends, 2 paternity claims, 2 devastating revelations that the children weren't his. A man who has been through that kind of pain doesn't walk into a third situation with He walks in with his guard up, his eyes open, and a deep-seated determination not to be fooled again. Now he's standing in court facing a third paternity question, and the weight of his past is sitting on every word he says. The question hanging over this entire case is whether his instincts are protecting him or punishing an innocent child.
You state she is engaged to a roommate.
Yes, Your Honor.
The judge gets straight to the heart of Mr. Buchanan's doubts without wasting a single moment. He is convinced his girlfriend was unfaithful during a period when he was lost. T-Bridge had already acknowledged one detail that complicated her own defense before the judge even had to press her on it. She admitted to spending time with one of Mr. Buchanan's friends while her boyfriend was incarcerated, explaining that loneliness had driven her to seek company. She framed it as innocent, but that framing was immediately challenged by the other side. A drink shared with her man's friend during his absence is one thing. What allegedly happened next is quietly by.
Frank, I don't care if it's a supermodel. You ain't drinking with somebody that's supposed to be my best friend. You know, you had the right to say no. If
So
it's
you
peer pressure,
blaming Miss Stembridge, or you blaming your best friend?
I'm blaming her because she knew.
That was only a one-time.
Miss St. Bridge pushed back hard, insisting she had nothing to hide and had been completely held her position firmly and told the court she had been honest from day one. She wasn't backing away from her claim that Mr. Buchanan was the father, and she wasn't going to let his doubts rewrite a version of events that she knew to be true. Things between them had deteriorated badly in the aftermath of his suspicion, and the damage to their relationship was visible in every exchange between them.
Well, Mr. Buchanan says that you witnessed. What exactly did you witness?
Even his own ex-girlfriend had reportedly tried to warn him that his best friend had betrayed him, a warning that only added more fuel to a fire that was already out of control. That ex-girlfriend was about to take the stand, and nobody was ready for the energy she brought into that room. She was asking the court to see her situation clearly and not let his painful past cloud the truth of the present. The room was split, and only one thing was going to break the deadlock. Mr. Buchanan had spent real time with this little girl, and the bond between them was undeniable despite all the legal chaos surrounding her paternity. Miss St. Bridge told the court that he was a genuinely wonderful father, and that if she had any choice in the matter, he was exactly who she would want raising her daughter.
Mr. Buchanan,
Scott walked into Judge Lake's courtroom with a very specific mission to protect his name and prove he was being set up again. He claimed this wasn't his first time being falsely accused of fathering a child, and he was adamant that Miss Crane was simply the latest in a pattern of women trying to pin a baby.
Including the defendant, have dragged your reputation through the mud, claiming you are the father of their children.
Yes, sir.
You admit to having 6 kids.
On him. His confidence was loud, his posture was defensive, and he wanted DNA results to back up every word he was saying. But Miss Crane was standing right there, and she had not come to be dismissed. Whatever Mr. Scott thought this day was going to look like, it was about to go in a very different direction.
By 3 different women.
Yes, Your Honor.
But state that the defendant is not mother number 4 with child number 7.
Miss Crane's accusations cut straight to the bone, and she delivered them without hesitation. She told the court that Mr. Scott had deliberately drawn her into a relationship while hiding the fact that he was a married man. In her telling, she wasn't the one running a scheme, she was the one who had been deceived, manipulated, and left to deal with the consequences alone. The gap between their 2 versions of events was so wide it felt like they were describing entirely different people. The judge had the difficult job of finding the truth buried somewhere between those 2 stories.
You insist that Mr. Scott has never even offered you a dime.
Never.
Since your son was born. You're here to make a counterclaim against Mr. Scott in the amount of $5,000.
What made this case particularly explosive was the revelation that deception appeared to be flowing in multiple directions at once. Neither side was coming to court with completely clean hands, and that fact became impossible to ignore as the testimony unfolded.
Just said you were in a committed relationship,
Yes, we was.
and you just said, Ms. Crane, that he was married.
Major negative. I bet a major negative.
How did you discover?
Your Honor, I was 7 months pregnant.
Miss Crane confirmed the detail that landed hardest. Mr. Scott had reportedly been married for 9 full years while pursuing her. He responded immediately with his own armor up, denying and deflecting before the words had barely finished leaving her mouth. The courtroom absorbed the collision and braced for whatever was coming next.
I didn't know where Marcel was. He used my phone one time. He deleted all his calls, so I went back on the internet, went back to the research, called all the numbers he called, and found out he was married for 9 years.
Miss Crane described a confrontation that took place after she discovered the truth about his marriage, and what followed was deeply troubling. She said she reached out and ended up on a call where Mr. Scott's wife told her directly to terminate the pregnancy. The bluntness of that instruction, delivered from a wife to the woman her husband had gotten pregnant, left the courtroom momentarily speechless. That kind of moment doesn't happen in a normal dispute. It happens when someone's entire secret life comes crashing into the open at once. Mr. Scott had some explaining to do, and the room was waiting.
No, actually,
She
he
never
was at
did.
the woman's house, and he actually picked up the phone. So the lady was like, well, who is this calling from Marcel? I said, well, I'm his baby mama, his girlfriend. He's like, well, how was that when I'm married for 9 years with him? And he's right.
Rather than address the weight of what had just been said, Mr. Scott pivoted and launched an accusation of his own. He claimed that Miss Crane had become involved with his ex-wife's cousin, a detail he presented as evidence of her character and a reason to question her claim.
Miss Crane has a tattoo on her body.
Well, I don't know if she still has it, but what she just told me recently that she had it covered up. She has not 1, not 2, not 3, but 3 dudes named tattooed.
No.
The courtroom barely had time to process that twist before the implications started sinking in. If true, the connections between everyone in this story were tangled in ways that went far beyond a simple paternity dispute. This was a web with threads running in every direction.
Your Honor, I had one, and that was my ex-boyfriend for 5 years.
Now,
The
I don't know
baby
if
that
it-
she's saying is yours?
I don't know if it was one of them men, but the dude that she was with was my ex-wife's cousin.
The focus shifted to Miss Crane's personal life as Mr. Scott pressed his case that her history gave him legitimate reasons to doubt paternity. He laid out what he described as red flags that had been there from the beginning.
One of the things that created doubt in your mind, because
It created
when
doubt in my
she-
mind, period,
when
when she
she
started getting text
covered the
messages and
baby
shit.
up, you're saying she
That was
didn't
one of
stroke
them.
that baby and tell them that that was your son.
Signals he claimed he had ignored at his own cost. Miss Crane didn't retreat. She sat with the scrutiny and pushed back against the narrative he was trying to build around her. But then she dropped a piece of information that silenced the entire room and reframed everything that had come before it. Nobody was ready for what she said next.
You're saying that your ex-wife told you that she said that it's not your son.
Yes! And then while she's pregnant, She had hickeys on her neck.
Ms. Crane revealed that when she went to the clinic, she discovered something that made the betrayal almost impossible to process. Mr. Scott had apparently gotten her pregnant and his ex-wife pregnant at almost exactly the same time. That parallel timeline wasn't a rumor or a suspicion, it was a medical reality she had uncovered during what should have been a private medical appointment.
And at the doctor's
She didn't
appointment,
even have a
I seen
car.
his wife, and she was pregnant at the same time.
Yeah, they was.
Oh, wait. I thought you were divorced in 2009.
The courtroom absorbed that revelation with visible shock, and even those who had been skeptical of her story found themselves reconsidering. Mr. Scott's carefully constructed defense was starting to develop serious cracks.
But we were separated, though. We were separated.
And then,
We've
Your
been
Honor,
divorced, but we were separated.
You were
together.
divorced?
Yeah, we
from
got
your
divorced,
wife.
but then, yeah, we still messed around from time
So you
to
got
time.
her pregnant after you
Yeah,
divorced?
I mean, I admit it.
Your Honor, and then when I asked,
The judge called a witness to the stand, hoping to bring some clarity to the growing chaos, but clarity was not what walked through that door. The witness arrived loud, emotional, and ready to unload everything she had been holding back. Her energy immediately elevated the tension that was already at a breaking point in that courtroom.
Your Honor, he is a snake. He is doing the same thing to
All
me
right,
with my
now.
daughter.
All right.
For real. You know, don't even play, don't even go there.
It's your
Don't even go there.
Let's get to order.
What she said under testimony didn't simplify the case, it exploded it open in a direction nobody had anticipated. The judge had to work fast to maintain control of a room that was rapidly spinning out of order.
Have a seat.
Don't go there.
You are a deadbeat for real. It's gotta be
All
what
right.
you did, baby mama.
The witness didn't just testify, she introduced an entirely new problem for Mr. Scott that nobody had come prepared to address. She stood before the court and identified herself as another woman who believed Mr. Scott had fathered her child as well.
What it is you have to add to this?
He's my daughter's father, too. My daughter's 4 months old.
That's your
4
10
months
kid,
old.
right?
4 months old.
Hey,
She wasn't there to observe, she was demanding her own DNA test, and she wasn't leaving without being heard. Suddenly, Mr. Scott wasn't just defending himself against one accusation, he was facing the possibility of a second case opening up in real time. The judge now had 2 paternity questions and one very overwhelmed defendant standing in her courtroom.
So you claim you also have a child by him, and he's denying paternity?
He wants paternity test. I haven't.
yeah, she had no problem.
Nothing.
No, I communicate with her
It's
good. There's no
nothing.
problem with her.
Everything that had unfolded the marriage, the simultaneous pregnancies, the ex-wife's cousin, the clinic revelation, and now this new claimant had built into something far larger than a single paternity dispute. Like and subscribe because this case has a second chapter that you absolutely cannot miss.
Mr. Scott, you are the father. I am going to order Mr. Scott and Ms. Kalan.
The DNA results were the only thing capable of cutting through the layers of accusation and counter-accusation that had piled up in that room. Mr. Scott had walked in confident that science would clear his name, but with everything now on the table, the stakes had changed completely. Whatever those results revealed, multiple lives were about to be redirected by a single answer.
To go and submit to DNA testing and return to this court because we need to know once and for all if, in fact, you are the father.
Mr. Brown is standing in court refusing to claim his child, and his reason is raising eyebrows across the entire room. He says the baby was born prematurely, and that alone is enough for him to question everything. Whether that logic holds up scientifically or whether it's just a convenient excuse is exactly what this court is about to determine.
Summoning your boyfriend, Mr. Brown, for paternity test to prove that he is your 6-month-old son, Malachi's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
A lie detector test has also been requested, which tells you he believes Miss Parker is hiding something significant. This relationship is hanging by a thread, and the tension in that courtroom is already at its peak.
Mr. Brown, you say you stepped up when Malachi was born, but began to have paternity doubts because of Miss Parker's scandalous behavior.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Brown has actually done his own research, and he arrives with a specific argument ready to go. Miss Parker conceived in June, but the baby arrived on January 5th, and according to his calculations, even accounting for prematurity, February should have been the earliest possible birth date.
The dates are not adding up? What about the dates didn't add up?
Well, like she said, she got pregnant during June.
He is presenting this timeline as evidence that something doesn't add up, and he wants the court to take his math seriously. The question is whether his numbers reflect genuine scientific concern or whether they reflect a man looking for any exit he can find. Ms. Parker's father has heard enough, and he is not staying quiet.
The baby was born in January. I did research, and I found out that full-term pregnancy is between 39 and 40 weeks.
Parker steps forward to defend his daughter with everything he has. He tells the court plainly that Mr. Brown has a trust problem, not a paternity problem, and that the baby's resemblance to Mr. Brown should be evidence enough for any reasonable person.
I know the situation is obvious that he has trust issues, he has insecurity problems. Obviously, a blind man can see that.
He is urging Mr. Brown to look past his doubts and step into the role this child needs him to fill. His words carry the weight of a father watching his daughter be put through unnecessary pain. The room is listening, but Mr. Brown's expression hasn't softened yet.
That's his child. I mean, look at the baby, look at him.
Yeah, why are you here?
Why are you here? I mean, obviously, you know that's your baby.
Miss Parker breaks down, and the emotion she has been holding back comes pouring out in front of everyone. She isn't fighting for herself at this point. She is fighting for her child, who has known no other father figure but Mr. Brown. The thought of her baby growing up without his presence is the thing that has driven her into this courtroom.
I mean, whether he's not or is the father, I feel like I still want to sign the birth certificate because he's been there since day one.
Her tears aren't performance, they are the raw evidence of someone who has been carrying this alone for far too long. The judge takes it all in, and the moment of truth is closing in fast.
He's the only man I love, and I don't want to be with nobody else but him, and I don't know, I don't want to interfere with their relationship and their bond.
The lie detector results come back, and they deliver a clear answer. Miss Parker was telling the truth. She did not deceive Mr. Brown. She did not hide another relationship, and the foundation of his doubt has just been pulled out from under him. The science and the truth are now pointing in the same direction.
Are not Malachi's father. Miss Parker, you were asked if during your relationship with Mr. Brown, have you had any type of sexual contact?
And Mr. Brown has a decision to make about who he wants to be for this child. A baby who was born fighting to survive in this world deserves a father willing to fight just as hard to be present. Results are in, the truth is out, and there are no more excuses left to hide behind.
With another man. You said no. The lie detector determined that was the truth. Miss Parker, I have to ask you, do you know who baby Malachi's father is?